Bases dropped on the post-game report. Atlanta United loses 3-0 to Philadelphia, first leg of the CONCACAF Champions League quarterfinal. Jason Longshore here with you, along with the Twitch pitch, along with Jarrett Smith shortly until he is stolen away for the salty takeaway. Jarrett, don't give us the really good stuff. People got to go check out the salty takeaway for that.
That's fine.
But give us a quick reaction.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
Hey. That's also true, though. Accurate.
Gattuso's right. I mean, it's, hey, you play on a knife's edge. Sometimes you cut them, sometimes you cut yourself. It happens. It sucks. Yep. You could have had 4 goals in the first half. And this tie, I think at that point, this tie is over. I think if you go up 4-0 on them, or even 3-0, this tie's over. But it didn't happen. Andre Blake stood on his head and did things that Andre Blake can do. And then you had a set piece get weird on you. You had a miscommunication, and then you got beat going for it, which coincidentally is the thing that, when you were on the road in Mexico, you had the thing where you was like, please don't go for it, and please just kind of let that 2-0
Monterrey,
lead. Yeah, let that 2-0 lead just kind of simmer there and come back home. Well, that's different when you're down 2-0 at home. You kind of have to get that goal. Because 2-0, going on the road 2-0 is damn near suicide. Going on the road down 3-0, well, that is very much suicide.
Well, no, I mean, honestly, going down 3-0, going down 2-0, how much of a difference are we talking about? Going down 2-1, different conversation entirely.
Yeah, that's why you go for it.
Yeah,
so I support it going for it.
Exactly. It is what it is. You had a great 45 and you had a bad 45. And the bad 45, you got opened up after a corner, and you didn't respond the same way you did. You gave up a goal off miscommunication. You gave up a goal when you were pushing forward. The way you conceded is not the biggest issue here. The fact that you had the chances, you didn't find the back of the net, that's the part that would have changed the game. Ultimately, that's what it came down to, is you didn't score when you needed to score to change the game. You failed, and you gave up sloppy goals. The corner, sloppy. The second goal, sloppy. It's miscommunication. Third goal, it's not even really sloppy. You're exposed, yeah. 5 shots on goal for Philly. They score on 3 of those. You had 7 shots on target. Blake made 7 saves. You had 16 shots in total. You had 65% of the ball. First half, you had 8 shots. Second half, you had 8 shots. But first half, you had 5 on target. That's where you needed a goal to show for it. Individuals who stood out, Santi Sosa, very, very good. 82 of 89 passing, 19 of 21 on long passes, which is obscene. Hit the woodwork once, won 6 of 7 duels, which is also obscene. 4 interceptions, 3 tackles. It's about as good of a performance as you're going to see from a holding midfielder from Santi Sosa tonight, / center back, because he was actually a center back this evening. Emerson Heineman tonight was very good, 53 of 58, created a chance. Let me make sure Sosa did not create a chance. Heineman did. He was 3 of 4 on long passes. 3 of 7 on the duels, 2 interceptions, 2 tackles, was very active. How many shots did he have? Heineman had 3 shots, 2 were blocked. Those were the two of the best. I think Jurgen Damm has to be in the conversation, too, if we're going full 3 stars out of this. Damm was 5 of 7 on the dribble. He created 4 chances. They took 1 away. 4 accurate crosses out of 13, but 4 is a large number there. 5 of 9 on ground duels.
You really miss Brooks Leonard in a game like
2
this.
Shots. You do, but you had your right-sided player create 4 chances, so, I mean, it's not like it wasn't happening.
I think he was admirable in that role, but
he was more than admirable. I think that's a little harsh.
No, I don't mean admirable in the condescending way. I mean, he did okay. He did fine. I also wear a cape for Brooks Lennon from back in his RSL days. So,
but
that's
and you
also
got to remember too,
how
though.
I deal with this.
You got to remember too, though, Jarrett. You were playing in a very different way. I don't know. You're not playing both of them. You didn't really play with outside backs.
Brooks up in that position.
No. I don't know if that would have happened or not. But yeah, you would have. It would have been a very different situation. A lot of people down on Jurgen Damm for creating 4 chances.
A lot of people down on the wings in general.
A lot of people were down on Marcelino Moreno to begin with. He had 1 chance created. Overall numbers were not great from him. We'll get into everything else and questions in just a second. Have you guys figured out when you're going to record Salty Takeaway now?
No. Waiting on Nick to get out of the stadium.
What is going on with this ship that you guys are running here? This is ridiculous.
Well, we're waiting on Nick to get out of the stadium so we can actually talk.
Fair enough. Cruz Azul just takes an early lead in the other game, 3rd-minute goal.
Oh man, Arcadiano didn't give up a goal at Cruz Azul when Cruz Azul was on the road to Toronto. So by proxy here, Arcadiano is better than Toronto. Congratulations,
Arcade. Yeah, I was like, man, who are we talking about? Arcade, the Haitian team.
Arcade.
Yeah, Arcade. Well, that's a great shot. Great shot. Yes, Sergio Santos fell down again. That is true, Turner. That is absolutely true. Let's talk about the CONCACAFing from Philadelphia. We talked about it during the watch-along. You get a lead, you're entitled to CONCACAF. You're entitled to do those things. I'm a little surprised because I have a different impression of Philly and the way they approach the game. I didn't expect that out of them. It was a lot. It was more than 6 minutes of stoppage time corrected, in my opinion. That's the biggest mistake Marufo made in the match, in my opinion. But the CONCACAFing, I think, has amped up the rivalry between Atlanta and Philadelphia. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's. I think that's where I'm at. We'll get into this deeper in the Salty Takeaway. You can submit your questions, by the way. The SDH Twitter account just put out the request for any questions you have for the Salty Takeaway. Feel free to send them in. John, Nick, and I will address them shortly. The CONCACAFing I expected better from Jeremy Marufo. I'll get deeper into it in a bit, but I expected better from Jeremy Marufo to manage it. And I thought he did a piss poor job managing guys like Franco standing over guys who are CONCACAFing to keep things from spilling over, and then to manage the time better. It's just that part to me was not good enough, and he's better than that. And to me, that's why I think I'm disappointed, is because I really like him as a ref, and I'm disappointed because I think he's better than that.
Yeah, I do too. That was disappointing, but that's not what changed anything about the game. That's a sideshow.
No, that's not what lost Atlanta the game. Let's not get it twisted.
Yeah, it's a sideshow, and I think it's very easy to grab on that and stay with that as a problem. It's a sidebar for me. The way the game played out, in my opinion, you simply did not get what you needed in the first half out of the way you played. You just didn't. You give up a goal off a set piece, which will happen, and you just didn't play well enough after going down. I mean, to keep it very simple, you did not play well enough after falling behind. The CONCACAFing, the dark arts, all of those things got in the players' heads too much. That's not acceptable. That can't get in their heads. It took them out of their game. Then you had a miscommunication, and then you got caught pushing up. Like, the score line doesn't reflect the quality of play for me, but the score line reflects the way the game played out, if that makes sense. When you don't convert, all it takes is one mistake to punish you. And you didn't convert. And Andre Blake gets a huge amount of credit for why you didn't convert. You know, it's not like you were missing wide open shots for no reason and just putting them over the bar. I mean, you forced Blake into 6 or 5 saves in the first half. You know, like he A couple of them were really good.
Damn good.
Yeah, a couple of them were really, really good. So very, very impressive from him. And if he doesn't make one of those saves, I think we have a very different match. But you got to go through these games as a young team. You have to go through these games. I thought they came out with the right idea. I thought they played really, really well. I didn't like the reaction to falling behind. That's the biggest issue.
And at this moment, I am going to abandon you.
You abandon me. Jarrett will be on the Salty Takeaway. That will be coming up on the SDH network here in just a little bit. Send
your salty criticisms and your pettiness.
Yes. That's like the David Letterman late night show after the Tonight Show, basically tonight.
This is Craig Ferguson at this point. I mean, we don't have a structure. We just do things.
You guys have fun. I'm going to take questions from the Twitch pitch.
I'll probably see you in the morning.
See you, Jarrett. All right, let's do this. Hold on, Jarrett just lost me. I will be back on video on Twitch here in just a second. There we go. Now, all right, if you are on the Twitch pitch, you can send your questions in. If you are listening on the app, you can tweet at me at Longshoe. Anything at Soccer Down Here will get saved for Salty Takeaway, but if you want something specifically from me while I'm sitting here with you, it is on at Longshoe on Twitter or join on the Twitch pitch, twitch.tv/Soccer Down Here. All right, I'm going to start hitting the comments and questions. Christopher Abel, the problem I have is that if the goalkeepers were on opposite teams, Atlanta wins 3-0. It's kind of harsh on Brad. I don't think Brad had anything to do with this, to be perfectly honest. I don't know. I don't think it has anything to do with it. Brad hasn't been the problem. Last year he had some mistakes, but tonight Blake was just that good. It just was. It's a good draft pick, and Philadelphia has kept him. I thought he would be in Europe by now, actually. So, okay. I don't think that had anything to do with the Atlanta goalkeeper situation. I don't think it affected anything tonight. Is what I'm getting at. J-Dub, should I be sad about the final scoreline or excited about what this group showed going forward in the first half? Both, because both are real. You should be excited about what you saw in the first half. Team looked good. Team was creating chances. Team was flowing. It was very good soccer in the first half. They were not nearly as good in the second half. The reaction to falling behind off a set piece was not good enough. That should concern you. It can make you sad. It can upset you. All those things are accurate. But that doesn't wash away how good they were in the first half either. You have to take the first half for what it was as well and be happy about that. Okay. Next. Dr. D, go ahead. Questions are free. Why does it hurt so bad? Because you love this team and because it was a frustrating night because you played so well in the 45 minutes. If you didn't play well for the 90, I think you're kind of numb to it by that point. But you played really well in the first 45. That's why it hurts. And this game can be cruel sometimes, man. It just is. Sean Vergara, this is good. I'll dispute that. I don't think it's good, but you are 100% correct. These games are helpful in the long run. I don't know about more helpful, but they are helpful because you learn how to deal with things. You learn how to deal with adversity. You played a very good team. You played them off the park in 45. And you got punched in the mouth. You got caught. How many times do you see it in a UFC fight? Somebody's dominating. They can't put the fight away, and they get caught. They get caught with a spinning back fist. They get caught with a spinning kick, and it's all over. It's kind of how it felt tonight. That corner, I mean, it's a goofy way to give up a goal. Robinson loses Shabilko. That can't happen. Second goal, Sosa and Dom it should be an easy clear at midfield. It's not okay. Third goal, I don't even care. Third goal, you're going for it. You're trying to pull one back. You're pushed way up. Shabilko could have been offside. He might have started his run when the ball was passed. He might have actually been in his own half, you can't be offside in your own half. AA 5 stripes. Is there a way Atlanta can advance? If we finish the chances in Philly, can we pull this off? Yeah. I mean, yeah. Is it likely? No, it's not. But if you finish 3 of 5 chances, 3 of 5 shots on target, let me put it that way, it was more chances than that. 3 of 5 shots on target in the first half. If you finish 3 of 5 in the first half, then yeah, you can absolutely advance. It runs downhill the other way too. We've seen it. Think about Champions League series where Barcelona came back at PSG. I mean, it can happen. It's going to take a lot. It is incredibly unlikely, but sure, anything can happen. I'm just curious to see how you play it at this point. Do you decide to give guys time in that game, knowing it's not likely, and say, go make it happen? Or do you go full strength and try to make it happen and make changes at halftime if it's not? That's what I'll be curious about. Let's see. 4-card, what adjustments should we have made into and during the second half? I didn't have anything on the board going into the second half because the first half was so good. It's easy to say now they should have changed something at halftime. I wouldn't have changed a thing. It was so good at that point, I'm not touching it. What could you have done in the second half? Let's go back to the changes you made. You made 2. Mulroney in for Moreno right after the goal you conceded. Fresh legs, didn't really change anything about the way you played. I thought Mulroney, what did he do when he came on? Let's look at his numbers. 18 of 20 passing. He created a chance. He was 1 of 3 on his crosses. 4 of 4 on his duels. He was fouled 4 times in not long. So Mulroney was good. That move's fine. Kubo Torres for Ibarra is a little confusing. What options did you have? You pulled one of your more defensive midfielders, which was risky. You could have brought on Eric Lopez there. That's really the only other move that would have made sense. Yay, nay. Kubo, what did he do while he was on? Let's take a look. Kubo, as I find him, 6 of 7, 3 of 7 on the duels, 2 of 3 in the air. Kubo had 2 shots. Kubo was effective, so I can't really complain about that either. Would Eric Lopez have been more effective? Could you have made another move? Well, at that point, your only other real attacking option on the bench was Eric Lopez. You had Anton Walks, you had Mikey Ambrose, you had Jack Gurr also on the bench. If you would have brought on Eric Lopez at that point, it probably would have been for Joseph, which I think would have been okay. Around the 75th minute or so, after maybe the second goal, you could have pulled Joseph and went to Eric Lopez. That might have been seen as a signal of a white flag, which I don't think it would have been at that point, but maybe you didn't want to make that move for that. You wanted to keep the team fighting, and you wanted Joseph to keep trying to play his way into it. I didn't think Joseph was effective in the second half. He was getting better in the first half. Wasn't really effective in the second. That's the only other move that I can see. Maybe Eric Lopez for Joseph in 70th, 75th. Maybe after the second goal. That's about all I would have had. Blitz, my assessment is that it reminded me of how I lose FIFA online. Should be up 3-0 at the half, give up 1, risk it all to get back, pay the consequences. That's how this team's going to play. It's how the team is going to play. It just is. You're going to take those chances. Christopher Abel, Brad has to organize better in the back on the first 2 goals. The first one's a set piece. That's not on Brad for me. That's on Miles because you don't have time to organize it. Miles just loses Shabilko. Second one, the mistake happens way up the field. Again, it's not on Brad. It's Dom and Sosa who get caught looking at one another and lose it at that point. Then it's a 2-on-1. I mean, sure, he could have told Franco to stay with Shabilko and not go, I think it was to Santos at that point. It's still 2-on-1. I don't know what that really accomplishes. Franco was very aggressive. Maybe you could try to hold it up. Maybe you could shadow it a little bit. But that's not goalkeeper organizing. That has nothing to do with it, Chris. The issue in that second goal was purely Sosa and Dom for me. If you don't have the mistake between the two of them, you don't give up that goal. Franco's in an impossible position. It's 2v1. He's got to pick something. He went for the most aggressive route. That's all. GH, if we can score at least 3 goals, it goes to penalties, but don't count too much, especially against Blake. It's true. He is pretty good on penalties. Need to score 4, need to not concede. We know the chances of that. They're incredibly unlikely. It is where it is. ATLUTD Dog. Thanks for hanging out. This team's going to be amazing. Have to find a way around a goalkeeper having a huge game. Let me know if we can find that way, because, man, I've seen it too many times. Also have to be more disciplined when chasing the game after giving up the first goal. Absolutely accurate. That's absolutely accurate. That's where, in some ways, you got to make it simpler. You can't get caught like you did with Sosa and Dom in that spot. I need to go back and see that whole sequence. I want to know where Robinson was, because I feel like he should have been somewhere in the ballpark. I think he stepped up thinking they were going to win possession and was giving a passing option. So he was caught by them being caught. I need to go back and look at it. But yeah, it was that's what kills you there. The third goal, it is what it is. You can say you should have just shut up shop at 2-0, but I don't think Gabriel Heinze is going to do that. So you can't ask somebody to go against their credo. And Heinze is going to be an aggressive, risk-taking manager. So you got to live with the consequences of that. You can't only enjoy it when you win. You have to accept it when it goes the other way, too. You just do. That's the nature of it. But the ATLUTD Dog, thank you. Thank you for hanging out. Z-Walk, 100% on the ref for not managing the game. No, it's not Z-Walk. Like, I completely got it wrong on the stoppage time. Should have been more than 6. The ref had nothing to do with any of the goals conceded or any of the goals that you didn't score. Could he have had more time? Sure. Could there have been another yellow card thrown? Sure. That's really about all he could have done. That's it. And like we were talking about in the watch-along, it's a really tough spot to put a referee in. It's why players do it. Referees don't want to get it wrong and give a yellow card to somebody when they're hurt. You don't always know straight away. And what Santos did was embarrassing. What Shabilko did was even worse. But there's only so much Marufo can do in those moments where if he's not 100% sure that like the ball didn't hit him or he didn't fall over, there's really nothing you can do except add the time back on. It should have been more stoppage time. That's the issue Marufo messed up, in my opinion. The rest of it didn't affect the outcome. 4-card, I really like the first half too, 100%. I know I'm way behind. I want to get to everybody, so we will keep going. Toronto's just pulled one back. That is a good response for Toronto in the 20th minute. Ricky says, I can separate what I think about this team and its long-term prospects and be pissed that we wasted another CCL opportunity. Yeah, I wouldn't say wasted because that's kind of harsh. Because I think they played really well in the first half, but it doesn't define a season either. Like you're right, they are separate things. For me, I'm disappointed. I'm not angry that they wasted a CCL opportunity. I'm disappointed that they played so well in 45 and got nothing to show for it. I'm disappointed and frustrated with that. That's where I'm at. But emotions are emotions. Everybody's got their own. But they are separate things. One game and the whole season, absolutely separate things. Looney, there were just brain farts by the defensive line. Hopefully it doesn't happen too often. Yeah, that's the idea. It'll happen, but hopefully it's not a consistent thing. Turner, you expected something different and thought you were evenly matched and ended with the same result as the last 2 years. Yeah, this felt completely different. That is crazy. The 3-0 first leg for Atlanta in quarterfinals. That is a bizarre stat. This one, you had Monterrey, you had Club America, you had this one. This one is the most frustrating of the three. Monterrey, there really wasn't a whole lot in that one for you. It shouldn't have been 3-0 at the end, but you didn't have a lot going forward. Club America, and Cruz Azul gets it right back. This game's drunk. CONCACAF After Dark. The Club America game last year, you played better than 3-0 like it was tonight, but they had it all in the first half. You fought back. You just didn't get anything to show for it. You hit the post a bunch of times. Tonight was the most frustrating because you should have taken the lead in the first half by maybe 2 goals, and you didn't. And then you got sucker punched multiple times. J-Dub, enjoy your cookout. Enjoy the cheer wine. Sometimes it's necessary. Yeah, Ricky, it does hurt worse in a tournament situation, 100%. Turner, yes, things were very different in the world during the first leg of the quarterfinals last year. That is not happening right now. That is good. Oy. Christopher Abel, why isn't Atlanta converting chances? Even world-class keepers can give up goals, so Blake standing on his head isn't enough of an excuse. You had too many big chances not to score. You should have scored. I can't answer that. Scoring goals is one of the hardest things in the game to do. If it was easy, it'd be a higher scoring game. You put balls on net. You created the chances. You didn't beat the goalkeeper tonight. I'm not trying to be like funny about it. There's a couple of them that could have been better taken. I think Jurgen Dahm's, for example, was a little bit too not easy because Blake's coming out of his goal, but didn't test him enough. There was one other one where Blake does get, diving, but not completely at full stretch. Could have been placed in the corner further. Yeah, it's getting into some really serious precision. It's not easy. You had enough shots. You had more shots on target in the first half than a lot of teams have in a whole 90. If you're doing that, generally, and the goal for Cruz Azul was pulled back, so it's 1-1. Generally, when you have that many chances and shots put on target, you find a way. You score. It's hard enough to get the ball on target. So, Chris, it's just that's the eternal question. That's the game. Every team has that question when they have this many chances and don't score. The quality of the chances was pretty good, in my opinion. You didn't beat Blake. It's when you talk about a goalkeeper standing on their head or having a big game, it's not about making an excuse. It is a factor. And when you have goalkeepers like Blake who make big saves, it changes momentum in games. I don't think that happened here so much because Atlanta kept going in the first half. Bill Hamid has that kind of ability. Memo Ochoa has had that ability in his career. Keylor Navas has had that ability in his career. You get goalkeepers who are just smooth and solid, and you get goalkeepers who break your back with saves. Blake's got that kind of game in him. He makes saves that you don't expect. Tonight he made a couple that I didn't expect. If it was easy to say do this and you'll score more goals, every team would do it. I wish it was that simple. I really do. 4-card. I blame this loss on Franco. He stepped up way too far, led to the free shot by Casper, which was saved by Goose out for the corner. They scored off the corner. Then Franco was ish after that. He did step out way too far. That's true on that corner or on that shot that then led to the corner. I think blaming the entire loss on that sequence is harsh. It's a mistake. It's absolutely a mistake. For those wondering, Alan Franco's numbers, let's get into it. 56 of 70 passing, that's 80%. He won 7 of 14 duels, that's 50%. That's pretty good. 5 of 8 in the air, that's not bad. Not bad for a center back. 2 clearances, 4 interceptions, 2 tackles. Those are good numbers. What did he do with long passing? 4 of 9, so-so. It's because of the mistake, and you could maybe even credit him with another mistake on the second goal where he was too aggressive, in my opinion. 6.4 rating on SofaScore feels about right. It's not all, pinning the loss on him is harsh, but yeah, it's his first game in a while, since late January, I think. Maybe early February. You got to play him to get those things out of your system. He made some aggressive mistakes. Shiva, it's a good point. We're not even supposed to be in CONCACAF Champions League. Not even supposed to be here today. Let's have a flashback to Clerks. How did I feel about Dom's crossing? He created 4 chances. He was 4 of 13. He overhit too many. But he created 4 chances. It's hard to be too upset about Jurgen Damm. People will be. I understand. But I don't know what you want instead. That's the thing. I don't know what you'd rather have there. You don't have Brooks. That would have been the other really good option. You're not going to play Jack Gurr on the wing over Dom at that point. Gurr's not as comfortable playing up higher like that. I don't think he's played it, or at least hasn't in a long time. Lennon could, but you didn't have him. You could have started Mulraney. I mean, that would have been the other option, is you could have started Mulraney over Dom. Turner, we can score 3 goals. We've seen him do it. Not conceding is the tough part, because you're going to have to risk to get those 3 goals is where I'm at. That's where I'm at with it. Mr. Fantastic, do I have faith in Dom going into the second match? Yeah, I mean, he created 4 chances. I want more. I want him to finish the one that he had. I want him to, I mean, it's hard to ask for creating more than 4 chances. That would put him tied for second in MLS in chances created per game if he created 4 chances per game every game. That's second in the league. It's not easy to do. Could he have had even more tonight? Yeah. If you are better on your crosses and you're not 4 of 13, yes. 13 crosses is a lot. Philly gives up a lot of crosses. Connecting on 4 is actually a high number. It is. It's not a great percentage, but connecting on 4 is a high number. Could it have been better? Sure, he could have connected on 9 more. But he created 4 chances. It's really hard to be too upset. Again, I mean, SofaScore is all about stats. That's how they measure it. He got a 7.4. He was the second highest rated player for Atlanta United. He was 5 of 7 on the dribble. He had 2 shots. 1 was saved. There's not a ton of problems with Jurgen Damm's game tonight. If there are for people, I want to know what your problem is. And if it's just better, conversion percentage on crosses, okay, that's fair. I mean, 4 of 13, you'd like to be at 50%. Not many people are above 50% on converting crosses. So just keep that in mind. Let's see what else we got. Colonel, response to the first goal was disappointing. I agree. I have to go back and look at that sequence. So you gave up the goal in the 57th. You brought on Mulraney. You brought on Kubo Torres. You gave up the second goal in the 73rd. So a 16-minute time frame. I need to go back and look and see what you did in that 16 minutes. It didn't feel like it was after you conceded on Saturday. That's an issue, 100%. And yeah, that'll get fixed. That'll totally get fixed. GH, I don't know if you start Lennon over Dom in that spot. You could. You absolutely could. We'll just have to see. We don't know because he wasn't available. Looney, I completely agree. If Atlanta were to pull off an advancing win, it would be one of the most dominating wins in franchise history. It'd be one of the biggest performances in franchise history, no question. Natasha, there is no timetable on Lennon. It's almost impossible to have timetables on concussions if that's what's going on, and I think that has to be the assumption. If it's a concussion, there's just no way to know. I don't have the protocol in front of me for MLS, but most protocols for professional leagues or even high-level college in these situations, you've got to have no symptoms first. Then you ramp up your exercise level. And if you have symptoms happen as you exercise more, you have to shut it down and stop. And once you're able to complete a certain period of time, certain exercises, certain things with no symptoms, then you can come back to activity. It can be a tough road. And there's just not a roadmap for it. I mean, you can get to a certain point and then you exercise more than 20 minutes and you start to get dizzy or start to get nauseous or what have you. There's just there's no 2 concussions that are alike, so it's really tough. I don't think you'll have a timetable on it, to be honest. Ricky, I don't know if you have to choose, but Ricky says I'd rather just go get max points in New England, to be honest. It's a smarter play right now. I mean, if you have to choose, then yes, because those 3 points would be more valuable than looking for a successful lottery ticket in Philadelphia, because that's what it'll take. It's a very low percentage chance of going through. GH, I don't, if it's a concussion, and we don't know that yet, but there's no way if it's a concussion to know that he'll be okay to play next week. There's just no way to know. I've had a concussion. There's no way to know. Some people recover quickly. Some people do not. And we just don't know. So you kind of just have to assume he's out until he's not. That's really the way it goes with Lennon. Kyron Hill says, Barco went missing after their first goal. I think it was a little hard to find Barco, but again, they play 4 central midfielders, so we kind of expected that coming in, that it would be hard to pick out those central guys. You needed your wide players to make the difference tonight. Dom created 4 chances. I think he did well in that. Moreno didn't do as well. Mulroney did when he came on. Barco as a whole, 57 of 59 passing. That's pretty ridiculous. 2 of 4 on duels, 2 of 3 on the ground. Barco had 2 shots. 1 was blocked, 1 was off target. It was the free kick. Nothing defensively. Barco created 2 chances. Those were both early. He was 5 of 5 on long balls. Let me see what he was on the dribble. He did not have a dribbling attempt. Okay. Earned 2 free kicks. He was all right. He was a little bit better than all right because he created 2 chances, but those were, again, early. So you could say he went missing after the first goal. We did know that it would be hard for the central midfielders to impact the game because it would be 4v4 in there. Let's see. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for people watching. Thanks for anybody who has subscribed tonight during all of this. It's been helter-skelter. If I've missed it, I'm very sorry. But thanks for everybody hanging out tonight. I do appreciate it. All of us do. Salty Takeaway will be coming up here in a little while on the network. Christopher Abel, after conceding the 3rd goal, you should have subbed in Lopez for Franco. But then you would have had one true center back. Sosa could have played center back. You would have then been 2v2. You would have risked even more if you had went that way. And if you wanted to go that way, you could have. But you would have been for the last, what they give you, 6 minutes? The last 10 minutes with stoppage time, you would have been 2v2 in the back with Sosa and Robinson playing against Shabilko and Santos. If the criticism was you were too risky earlier to give up the 3rd goal, that's a tough one to reconcile. Lopez for Torres would have been one you could have done. But Kubo did not do poorly. Could Lopez have been better? Don't know. Pouncy Panda, what's up? J-Dub, Joseph, I think, got stepped on. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to be limping around a little bit at times. It's just going to happen. Everybody does as a player. He's back. He's not hurt. He's not 100%, but he's not hurt. So it's going to happen. He's going to get knocked. He's going to get knocked around. He's going to get kicked from time to time. It'll happen. There's no way around it. Z-Walk says, would you have kept Walks and Robinson pairing? But this is the thing. It wasn't just a pairing. It was 3 center backs. Sosa was a 3rd center back. The other way you could have done it would have been Walks as a center back, Sosa further up the field, probably for Ibarra. So Walks would have been in the game for Ibarra. Sosa would have played higher up the field. Would that have worked better? We'll never know, but it would have been another way to have solidity in the back and have Sosa impacting the game further up the field. That would have been the other solution. You still could have got Alan Franco into the team, which is something you really wanted to do. You got to get him playing minutes because he's good. You brought him here for a reason. That was a little bit of a surprise. I don't know, and I haven't seen anything post-game yet. I'm not looking because I'm talking to you guys. I don't know if there was any issue with Walks. I don't know if he was gassed. I don't know if he was tired. I don't know if he played every minute so far, if he needed the night off, or if he needed the night to not be a 90-minute night. That's the only thing I could wonder about. And without knowing that answer, I don't know why the lineup was what it was, outside of feeling like this was the best way to manage everything you needed to manage. And you did really well for 45. Does Walks help you on the set piece? Probably not, because I think it's an individual mistake. Would he have been in the situation Sosa was in on the 2nd goal? Yes. Could that have helped you? Yes. 3rd goal, again, I don't think it would have made a difference. So maybe on the 2nd goal it would have made a difference. Maybe so. And Sosa being further up the field, would that have been better? Possibly. Ibarra was fine in the first half. Franco in total 29 of 35, 3 of 6 on the duels, 29 of 35 passing. He had a long-range shot that was saved. Ibarra had an interception, had a tackle. Long passes, he was 1 of 1. He was average, very average. Could Sosa have been better than that higher up the field? I think so. I don't think he would have been as good as he was sitting deeper because that's his role. But could he have been better higher up the field? Yes, than Ibarra. So maybe it would have worked better for Walks to have been there and Sosa to be higher up the field. I'll have to see if there was an answer, if that was asked. We'll just have to see what happened there. GH, people have gone back and forth on it. Franco was brought here to play. You have to start playing him. You could have started bringing him in as a sub. Again, without knowing if Walks needed the night off, we're kind of guessing on that. A lot of people wanted Walks in, and I can't hate it. Joe Boss, you may not watch next week. Come on, man. Come on. 4-card, good night. I know you're probably already gone. Let's see. A lot of people reacting to Toronto and Cruz Azul, and I'm way behind. Cruz Azul's up 2-1. Why does the whole MLS crew hate Atlanta, Shiva? I do not know. I don't know. It happens sometimes in leagues. It's funny. It seems like the national media or the league media like hypes up a team more than they really like talk down a team in other leagues. Like your New York teams, like if the Knicks are doing anything, they're always going to get, oh, the Knicks are great. The Lakers, forget it. Cowboys, forget it. If they're doing anything decent, everybody's going to talk about the Cowboys. It's weird to see the national and league media really talk down a team a lot, and that's what happens here. Atlanta sports has always had that. Took the Braves forever to get any respect. And even then, whenever it went south, it's like, oh, here we go. It's the Braves. Ha, ha, ha. The Hawks never got the respect when they've been good, which hasn't been often. The Falcons were disrespected in their good years, and they brought some of that on themselves. It's just, it's what it is. I don't know if it's an anti-Atlanta thing. I don't know if it's just they don't like the hype around Atlanta United. I don't know. It is noticeable, and I don't think it's just Atlanta people being sensitive to it. It is noticeable, and it is strange. Very, very strange, Shiva. GH, they do love LAFC. That is true. Let's see. Blitz, yes, they could move the game to 10 o'clock, and it'd be Five Stripes After Dark, and that would be Looney Tunes. Faux show. Keep creating the chances, and the goals will come, ATL UTD dog. Yeah, they will. I mean, how many chances did you create today? Let's add it up. 4 from Jurgen Damm, 2 from Barco, 1 from Hindman, 1 from Mulroney, 1 from Joseph, 1 from Marcelino. So that is 10 chances. You created double digits. Little bit lower than they have been, and that's where the second half is like, okay. Created a bunch in the first half. Second half after you fell down, you needed to create more, and you didn't. The reaction to the goals is the biggest issue coming out of tonight for me. The reaction, emotionally, the composure, not massive issues, but yeah, you got kind of out of your game because Philadelphia started acting like a CONCACAF game. You can't do that. You can't get distracted by that. Looney, Kazan does stand on his head from time to time. It has happened. Let's see. Turner, I see people worried about Joseph. He had a great chance that was deflected away against Chicago. I think that one was going in. Robbed by Blake today. He's going to be fine. Joseph on the whole for the evening, 6.4 from SofaScore, which is a little low. He had 2 shots, 1 on target, 2 big chances missed. 1 he put on target, 1 he did not. 1 chance created, which is a nice bonus, and that was a big chance for Moreno, so that's a very nice bonus. 3 of 4 winning duels. Do you have any dribbles? No. Nah. It was better. First half was good from Joseph. I thought the first half by the end, I was feeling pretty good about where Joseph was. Second half, you didn't really see him much. That's not okay. I think it's time. I think it's just, he's just got to play. Him and Franco both, they've just got to play. They've got to play through this right now. Missed Lennon. Looney Ticks has missed Almiron. That's a while. Going way back. A throwback. It's a VAR fest in Tampa. It's a good thing they added VAR for tonight. GH, many Atlanta United fans want Franco to start. Knew it was a mistake, especially on the game that prioritized winning. I was a little surprised. I thought if he did, it would be with Walks and Robinson. And I'll have to look and see what comments we get about maybe why that was the case. If we get comments about that. Maybe not. Let's see. The end all, welcome in. Want him to be a bit more decisive in the 18, otherwise very pleased with Dom. Yeah, I'd like him to go to goal a little bit more than he does. That's maybe my biggest thing. He overhit some crosses tonight. That was a big thing on Saturday from everybody, too. A little more precision, a little bit more of the cutback, a little bit more to the top of the 18. He had one of those that was good today. It's pretty good. You create 4 chances. It's hard to find a lot of things wrong with that. He had 4 chances created. He had 7 incomplete passes, and most of those were crosses. So, it's not bad. Ricky, I guess I can't be too annoyed about CONCACAF opportunities. We'll just be there next year since the Open Cup may not happen. Well, maybe so. We'll see. Joe, there's things to revisit in it because there's things that have to change. But you've got to be better. You've got to be better against New England because New England's another good team. Now, I think New England matches up a little bit better for you because they don't play this way, the 4-4-2 diamond, which was a challenge for Atlanta. Especially in the second half, it was a challenge. So, can Atlanta find a way against Philly next week to exploit the 4-4-2 diamond a little bit more? I hope so, after seeing it. Can they be what you want against a New England team that's going to be... What's interesting about New England is they can line up like a 4-4-2, but it plays more like a 4-3-3 because Gustavo Bo drops into the midfield a lot. It can honestly play like a 4-1-4-1, kind of your version of a 4-3-3. So I'm curious to see how Heinze plays it, if he goes with 2 center backs or he goes with 3. So we'll have to see that one because I don't know. You could go either way on it. If Sosa's the third center back, then that's easy. He can step into the midfield when Gustavo Bo drops deep, which he likes to do. I think New England's an easier matchup for you, stylistically. Philly's a tough one just because you're not used to playing a team that plays that way. Let's see. Jams. It's kind of crazy that someone goes out on a concussion substitution without knowing they have one. But that's what a concussion is, Jams. The concussion substitution is for a fear of a concussion. You can have a head injury and not have a concussion. You can not get hit in the head and have a concussion. You can not know you have a concussion until the next day. Or even later than that, I think. I didn't know I had a concussion until, how long would it have been? About 16 hours after I was hit in the head. I didn't know I had a concussion.
I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know you'd be back. I was hit in the back of the head coaching, so it was an evening practice. It was around 7 o'clock. Finished the coaching session, just had like a migraine headache, it felt like, but I had a headache when I got there, so I didn't really think much of it. I mean, I was hit in the back of the head with a soccer ball. I wasn't thinking about a concussion. And went home, went to sleep, got up the next morning, ate breakfast. Wasn't feeling great, but again, I wasn't thinking about a concussion until I sat down to work from home instead of going into the office early and felt like my head was going to cave in. And then I'm like, okay, something's really wrong, and then ended up a trainer, our physical trainer with the Silverbacks Reserve said, yeah, you've got a concussion. You can go do all tests and whatever. That's not how you know it's a concussion. Like, you're telling me it's a concussion. I know. We've seen this. So it was 16 hours before I thought anything was wrong with my head. That's just the thing. The concussion substitution is, you don't know. It's called that to keep people safe. But people are going to get subbed out on a concussion sub and not end up missing any games because it ends up not being a concussion. Like, we've got to understand that about head injuries. I think there's a lot of misinformation out there about it. Joe, we're going to have overreaction Wednesday. Sorry. I know. There's going to be some insufferable takes, Ricky. I know. How was the salty takeaway, Jarrett?
It was pretty good. It was me getting mad about things that let's do this again. I don't mind, honestly. Gabriel Heinze said something that Frank DeBoer said, and it's going to go over very differently in this town with people.
Oh, boy. Reasons. I have not seen anything.
He was asked if he's worried. He said, I would be worried if we weren't creating chances.
Which is accurate.
And I heard that multiple times for a year plus. And it didn't go over well with some people, and I feel like it's going to go over a lot better right here.
It should go over fine both times, but,
yes, it should. It shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't have been a problem then, and it shouldn't be a problem now. I've seen a lot of optimism from people, mostly saltiness at Philadelphia, but excitement with Atlanta, as you should feel that way, in my opinion. Like you lost your head a bit, but you played well overall, and you're going to get better. Because this is not a final product.
Sorry, I'm looking at Twitter for the first time, and I probably shouldn't have.
I am watching the drunkenness that is Cruz Azul in Toronto.
Yeah, that's on in front of me. We'll go
Toronto almost scored.
We'll go like 10 minutes longer if that's okay, because we will have the Overreaction Wednesday. Got to save some of the good stuff for that, so I'm going to try to get caught up on the Twitch pitch. Let's see. Ricky says, Kubo showed me a lot more than Lisandro Lopez has. I know the situations are different, but still, I agree. I think he did. I was fine with Kubo today. Sean, thank you. No, it's all good. These are the games I think where the talking through it is really important. So I'm happy to be here and do it. Let's see. Dom's first touch was great, according to David. Ibarra seemed to struggle there. Ibarra's more of a defensive player. He's generally been a sit in a double pivot, win the ball, get rid of it. He's doing more here than he's accustomed to. I think he's showing some good flashes, but he's a completely different player. Yeah, Dom, that's something he excels with. Christopher Abel.
That too would have been an interesting animal in a game like this.
Yeah, he would have been a better fit than Ibarra for what you needed here, for sure. Christopher Abel, interesting stat. In 4 of our 9 games, we conceded 3 goals. In a different 4, we kept a clean sheet. Got to learn how to not let these things snowball out of control. Are you talking about in CONCACAF, Chris? I'm assuming. They're all different, and it's a little hard to compare them all. Like, we went through the 3-0 losses in the first legs. And Herediano... Or, sorry, that wasn't it. Monterrey. Oh, okay, that was the other 3-goal game you conceded. Okay, now I got it. Now I got you. I am working back through it in my head. Herediano was on the road game 1. You didn't know any better. Game 2, you shouldn't have given up 3 against Monterrey. It should have been capped at 2. You're on the road. You should have shut up shop when you did. When you fell down 2-0. Club America was a weird one. I don't know how differently that could have been in terms of the conceding. Tonight, I don't know what you could have done differently because you're not going to shut it down at home. You've got to go for it. So the 3rd goal, I mean, it just is what it is. You can't give up the first 2 to get there. I don't think it snowballed. Tonight didn't feel like a snowball effect. Club America didn't feel like a snowball effect. Monterrey did, and you should have broken that one up with a sub. Herediano, you got it to 1-1, so the 2 goals in the second half for them I don't think were snowball effects. But you do have to, not so much at the other ones, but for tonight, you do have to react better to falling behind. That was disappointing. You created more chances. You were better in the first half than you were in the second. You fell behind in the second. The reaction needed to be better.
I'm trying to figure out how Atlanta got housed in this game, according to Taylor Twellman, but
because if you're not watching the game, if you didn't watch the first half, if you're only going by the score line, that's what you're going to do, and it feels like
be better.
You're going to jump on it because for whatever reason that's going to get clicks and get people excited.
Did that?
Was there a thing said about housing Chicago winning 3-1? Probably not.
Don't believe so.
No, probably not. So, I mean, it's just what it is. It is. David says the first half defensive backtracking, double teaming was excellent. I totally agree. Second half, you had that miscommunication with Dom and Sosa. I can't think of any bad issues where you weren't getting the work put in. But the first half, it was better. That's a definite thing. Will said, I stepped out to listen to the Braves postgame to feel better and now have opinions to share now that I've calmed down. Uh-oh. We haven't got to Will's opinions yet.
I'd have to save those till tomorrow morning.
Yeah, good times. Christopher says, I would have thought Philly would be an easy matchup. No, definitely not. All you have to do is spread the wingers out, beat the outside backs in a 1v1, force the opposing midfielders to step to the wing, then look for the runners in space, the midfielders left. All you have to do is pull apart the diamond, and you have easy chances. But Chris, they were the best team in the league last year. It's not that easy. I mean, they're good. It's tough. It's not simple. And you have to change things to be able to match up against them. So then you're in some unfamiliar territory, which was good in the first half. And then it wasn't in the second. So, no, Philly was not going to be easy. I hope we didn't give you that impression. I thought we talked about how it was going to be tough. Okay, Will says, at no point was Philly the better team in this game. I'll disagree with that. I think they were the better team after the first goal. I think after they got the goal in the corner, Philly was the better team. I think they might have created more chances after that. That's concerning. Overall, you can't really say Atlanta was the better team when they gave up 3. I don't think the scoreline reflects the quality of play from both teams. But, yeah, Philly was the better team for the last 30 minutes or so. Will's second point, Blake is just as likely to have a howler as be on one, so we're owed a cheapie next game. He's less likely to have a howler, but yes, he can have them. That's true. But I think he's more likely to just be okay.
It's not Sean Johnson level.
Yes, Sean Johnson is more of the, yay, or what's he doing? That happens too often with Sean. Blake is not always on one, but his howlers are fewer and far between. 3 from Will. If Santos goes down at any point when Philly is playing Atlanta this year, we better not play it out again. I'll agree with that.
Heinze might not let them play it out again. He was nonplussed about that.
No, he was not happy about that at all. Chris, it's just the schedule. He says, I hate that our biggest games come at the beginning of the year. CONCACAF, I don't like it either.
Get in touch with Garber and tell him to move the start of the season back into January.
Yeah, it's just you got to deal with the Players Association on that, and it's just not going to happen. I do want them to perform well on the international stage. I'm totally with you on that. I think it is more important in the grand scheme of things than MLS Cup. I don't think the way it's scheduled, it's not one or the other. But yeah, if you won the CONCACAF Champions League, it's a bigger win than MLS Cup for me. It is. It just is. Independiente del Valle did not have a good night either. So Tommy, our resident Philadelphia fan, is happy about one thing, but not happy about the IDV side of things. Shiva said, Gabby's saying the right things, I think. Encourage the team, eliminate mistakes, go on with how you play. You've got to believe in how you play. That's where I think people are going to be in for a real, it's not a rude awakening, it's just an understanding. He's not coming in like, well, I think this is pretty good. I'm going to throw this team out there, and we'll see what happens. And then it doesn't go well. It's like, oh, well, I got to change everything tomorrow. They've worked in a way. He believes in the way they've worked. He believes in the way they play. They're not going to change their philosophy. They might change personnel. They might do some different things tactically against different opponents, but they're not going to become a defend and counter team. They're not going to sit back and put numbers behind the ball. Those things aren't going to happen. And there's a very one more on me. Sorry, there's a very important clip where Gabriel Heinze was talking at a press conference for Vélez Sarsfield, and he was explaining basically, you guys talking to the media only judge on the result. I can't do that. I judge on the way we play. We can play very well and not get the result. We can play very bad and get the result. I have to go on the way we play because that's the part he can control. And then like somebody comes in and is like, oh, well, okay, let me ask you about the last game where you got the win and played really well. And he's like, see, exactly what I'm saying. Like, you can play well and lose. You can play bad and win. They didn't play horribly bad today. They didn't play a 10 out of 10. There are good things in it, plenty of good things to build upon, and you got to fix the mistakes. But the result doesn't tell you how you're working always. He's not going to change how the team is working.
Look at that. You got a not necessarily as flexible student from the school of Bielsa who is not going to change what he's doing. Who could have thought that? And you had a game where you looked good and it didn't go your way. Who could have imagined that? You're not going to change things. You're going to have games like this. It happens. I mean, you can be sad about it. I don't blame you for that.
100%. People they're going to like look at the space on the Shabilko second goal. Franco was aggressive.
The pass to I like the little back heel to set it free on the left side.
The third goal was not offside because Shabilko was in his own half. He was in his own half. You literally can't be offside. When the pass was made, he was still in his own half. So even if he had been the other half, I think he was still on or even. So it is what it is. Okay. Yeah, there was some serious CONCACAFing, yes. A lot of national media is going to dunk. That is true. Gabby was about to...
started. Max Bretos already started with Atlanta wasn't supposed to be in here anyway. Well, they went ahead and beat Ala Wednesday, so...
That's fine.
Can't help you there.
That's fine. Let them talk. Let them do their thing. It's all good. ATL UTD Tom, after the first goal, Atlanta was desperate. We needed to keep playing our game. The sub seemed too risky. The Kubo sub was more risky. The Mulraney for Moreno sub I didn't think was risky. But they did get a little too loose after that first goal. So I can understand the desperate comment there, Tom. I can see that. Didn't need to. You just got to keep. You got to keep.
Do you care about the XG for tonight?
Yeah. What was it? I know theirs is going to be higher than you might think because the first Shabilko chance was inside the 6.
2.12 for Atlanta. 2.07 for Philadelphia.
Okay.
So Atlanta had a higher. So.
Yeah. I mean, and there's, again, the corner, I think, was a .95. I did get a chance to see that one. I don't know what the other goals were, but probably the majority of that because they didn't really have many other shots. So that's how it goes. Let's see. I think we have almost caught up. We've won the Twitch pitch tonight. We finished. Katie says Philly got CONCACAF with the injuries and stuff. Philly sat and countered, pounced on a mistake, managed to win the game 3-0. Seemed really MLS-y. I don't know if I'd say they sat and countered. They did more in the second half. The diamond flattened out a little bit. It was a little bit more of a 4-3-1-2 as opposed to like a 4-1-2-1-2, which suited them. They didn't start that way. And then once you get a goal, then everything changes a little bit. So, sure, they didn't have to risk as much. So, yeah, it could have played into that a little bit. I'd love to know, and I'll have to check Jim Curtin's post-game comments, if anybody asked him if he made changes at halftime and if he talks about it at all. Because if he did tweak that at halftime, you got to give him a lot of credit. Christopher Abel says, do you think the Heinze philosophy has the potential to win championships? It's a big question. I mean, we talked about it when the name came up. He did what he did with smaller teams with different expectations. I absolutely think this way can win championships. Look at what Pep Guardiola's done. Because his way of playing is more along Pep than Bielsa to me. There's absolutely Bielsa in it. But I look at it more like Pep, and Pep has absolutely won. But Pep also has adjusted to the competitions he's in. There's no way to expect Gabriel Heinze to understand how MLS teams play and how the league works and how American players think when he gets here. That takes time. Chris said, look at what Tata did in 2018, changing to a more defensive style for the playoffs. Does Heinze need to do something similar to that to win in tournament situations? He's got to go through it. He's got to learn. The group as a collective has to learn. It's not as simple as just saying, like, do what Tata did with a different group of players. It's not quite that simple. He's got to learn from this as well as the players have to learn. I don't put really anything on him tonight. I think it's the players who reacted badly in the moments. I don't have any issues with Gabriel Heinze's approach tonight. Jarrett, you?
No, I'm disappointed with the way they didn't handle things mentally as things went on. But and he seems fine with it, by the way. Heinze has already, said, for him, it was a joy to watch this team play.
Yeah, he gets it.
It is a process, and we've talked about this. It's going to be a process. Like, you're going to have games where it just doesn't go your way. I mean, you can, and I know I don't want to go down a dangerous road of making direct comparisons to Bielsa, but y'all probably watched Leeds. You're going to have games that it doesn't go your way. You like what you're seeing in the way you're playing, but at the end of the day, the goals, the thing that matters in the game, sometimes it doesn't go your way. You can play a pretty game. You can be proud of the way you played and not win. It's possible. You can not be proud of the result, but you can look at the way you played and be proud of what you did and not win the game. That's a really sucky feeling, and I get that. That's a really, really sucky feeling as a fan, because it's going to feel like a moral victory, and I completely understand that. And if you want to reject it out of hand because you think it feels like a moral victory, I'm not going to say you're wrong for doing it. But, it's kind of just the way things can be. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around the fact Toronto's playing at Raymond James Stadium. I'm sorry, it breaks my head.
It's weird. When it's game 5 for this group and this manager, yeah, you're not looking for moral victories, but you have to put games into a proper context. You have to understand that it's game 5. It's game 5 of a long time. And I think Ricky makes a good point about Tata. He said Tata made those changes at the, after seeing a whole season of that team playing and knowing what worked. Playoffs are far enough away for Heinze to have a feel for what works then. Absolutely. Tata is more pragmatic than Heinze has shown so far. Heinze is also a very young manager. Tata is more pragmatic than Guardiola. He's far more pragmatic than Bielsa. Guardiola is more pragmatic than Bielsa. And when I say pragmatic, I'm not using that as the synonym for defensive. It's just doing what it takes to get the result. Heinze is an absolute believer in the way that he wants his team to play. He thinks if they play the way that they play, they win. Period. That is what you should be thinking at this point in his career. That he believes in what he's doing. He should. You're not going to get anywhere if you don't. So that's part of the process to then learn, I'm not changing what I'm doing. I'm not losing my nature. I'm not changing my DNA. I am me. But in this situation, I need to do this. And where I think he will show you that when the time comes, what did you see in the second half of game 1? Now, there was a red card that triggered it. But once you got the goal in Costa Rica, they were pretty pragmatic, more than I thought they would be. They didn't, go CONCACAF-y. They didn't park the bus and sit everybody back, but they got defensive. They were a man down, but they did. They didn't just say, well, it doesn't matter, we're going to play our game. So I think he will do what it takes, but he's got to get to know this team. Tata actually did it, after year 2, where he knew the team really well after 2 years and made those changes. So, that's what I've said all along, is I've felt like this is that kind of a cycle. It's year 1, you're going to have some incredible highs. You're going to have some lows. You're going to learn. You can be a contender by the end of year 1 for sure. It's the MLS format. You can go into the postseason, get hot, and you can win the whole thing. Year 2, I think they'll be one of the best teams in the league because they'll have that collective learning from year 1. I really think that'll be the plan, and that's a fair trajectory. I mean, look at Pep in year ones in places. Look at other managers who have this kind of idea of playing. It's not always easy to be perfect straight out of the gate. Ricky appreciates you doing the legwork to keep Ricky off of Twitter. I'm going to have to endure it here in a little bit.
It's a service.
Yeah.
It's a terrible service.
It is a terrible service. It's a terrible job.
Don't go on Twitter.
I'm already seeing a little bit of it, and I'm just kind of, I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't even know what word to use.
I mean, well, I guess for me, I look at it as like people are mad, people are frustrated, and they're frustrated at different things for different reasons, and they'll get over it because at the end of the day,
go ahead. Sorry.
At the end of the day, it's a game, it's a sport. Weird things happen. You hope that you hope the soccer gods owe you one here, where you're going to go play somebody, get absolutely shellacked, and smash and grab a point at the end, like I don't know, Orlando 2017 in Orlando with Tito.
It's just I'll leave it.
Weird.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean the emotional reaction. Totally understand it. Sometimes things can get misplaced in it. Sometimes things get crazy. Totally understand it. You've got to try to keep some context here. It's game 5. It is what it is. You played well, but got punished for not scoring. Welcome to the game. It can be cruel sometimes. It just can be. ATL UTD Dog feels like the style can absolutely win championships. Approach was dead on. Played that first half like he's been with the team for 3 years. It'll keep getting better, and at some point Joseph will go full Joseph again. Don't know when that'll be, but yes. Christopher Abel, and I'm going to leave it with this because this is a pretty good summation of the soccer life right now. Soccer is somehow the most exciting and most maddening sport at the same time. When you win games you're not supposed to, it feels amazing. When you lose games you have the potential to win, it's the most maddening feeling in the world. So glad we have the Twitch pitch to vent after these games. Yeah, that's what it is, man. I mean, you nailed it with that. You absolutely nailed it with that. It's what we love about the game when you steal a win. I mean, Atlanta's had them, like that Orlando game that Jarrett referenced. My favorite goal in Atlanta United history the next week, where you steal a point. You should have lost on a Kaká stunner, and Tito scored in stoppage time, and you absolutely stole it. Those feel really good. But when it's the other way and you lose a game that you should win, it'll drive you crazy. Because there just isn't an answer. And I don't think that's the case here. I want that to be clear. It's not just throwing it away, as people will say. You never complain about anything. That guy, he's always making excuses. No, their response after falling a goal behind was not good enough tonight. That's composure. That is dealing with the adversity of it. I don't think they became bad soccer players in that moment. I don't think any of that. I think they lost their heads a little bit, and they didn't deal with giving up a goal against the run of play well at all. That's a problem. They made some simple mistakes, things that just have to get corrected. The miscommunication on goal number 2, Franco being a little too aggressive, stuff like that. That's things you got to fix. You're 5 games in. You played well for a lot of this, and your playing well was better than Philly's playing well. You have plenty you can build on. I don't feel too gutted about this one because of how good it was, but it's a little bit of a reality check after a good win on the weekend that, you're going to have these too. You're going to have moments like that, like the Barco amazing goal, get an own goal to go up 2-1. You have a really well-worked goal to put it away, and you feel like you're on top of the world. You're going to have moments like this where maybe the first 45 you played better than any 45 you've had all year. You got nothing to show for it, and you walk out of here with nothing. That stinks. But it doesn't mean you jump ship. It doesn't mean you chuck everything into the trash. It's life. Could just be time. Yeah, Chris, it absolutely could. Let's see. Turner, we talked about John Hackworth out at Louisville City. I don't know if he's coming for the twos. It doesn't really fit his MO. It wouldn't surprise me if he went to the U.S. Youth National Team, went back to that, took the U17s or one of the age groups. But we'll have to see. That one was really surprising. We'll get into it more tomorrow. I think that's about it. I think we've covered all of it. It is annoying this was in CONCACAF, 100%. I wish the CONCACAF, and it will be starting in 2023 to a degree, although the knockouts are still going to be in the same time frame. What I wish they would do, I think I've said this before, I wish they would do the Copa Libertadores kind of calendar. You're going to go to a group stage in 23, but they're going to do the group stage later in the year and do the knockouts early in the next year. I wish they went to everything in the same calendar. So you did the group stage now, and you did the knockouts before you got into the last month of the MLS season. Might be tricky with everybody's calendars, with all the teams in Central America, with Liga MX, but I think it's doable. I think it'd be more equitable. Because this is hard. This is hard. It's the reality you got to deal with right now. You played a team that was in the same situation, so it doesn't really affect you tonight. Maybe later in the year you should be better because you've got a new manager, all those things. But, yeah, it's just – I wish they'd do that. I hope CONCACAF continues to grow and get better, and I hope Atlanta gets to a CONCACAF final here at some point. I really want that to happen. Doesn't look like it's going to be this year after tonight, but who knows? Maybe you go to Philly and we shock the world. Just have to wait and see. Anything we haven't hit, Jarrett, before we go?
No, I don't think so.
I think we have covered as much as we can.
To your point, that's going to be part of it. Is and we'll have to break it down as you go to Philly because you still have 90 minutes to play. And without sounding like a sunshine pumper, if you get that first goal in Philadelphia in the first 10 minutes, it gets fun.
Yeah, it gets really interesting if you get an early goal in Philly. It gets really interesting. Then you'll see how they handle it. See if their knees start knocking a little bit. All right, that's going to do it. Thanks for hanging out for a long time for the watch-along and for the post-game show. People who just caught the post-game show, thank you. If you have not listened to the Salty Takeaway yet, check that out where you get Nick, you get Jarrett, you get John, and their unfiltered opinions. We'll be back tomorrow for an Overreaction Wednesday with more unfiltered opinions. Mike Conti will be joining us at 10 o'clock. Yeah, we got plenty to talk about tomorrow. Thanks for all the talking tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. Mucho platio.
Mucho platio.